Saya nak tanya tadi pasal dalam sesi suami petang, katanya modal untuk modal troka dan sebagainya takkanlah nak datang pada kerajaan, sepatutnya sektor swasta juga masuk dengan lebih banyak. Jadi saya nak pergi kepada saudara Saiful Bahari dalam konteks itu. Kalau kita lihat pada public-private partnership misalnya, tapi dalam bahagian nak bagi wang untuk menjanakan lebih lagi bidang keusahawanan misalnya, bagaimana insentif yang ada dalam bajet kali ini dan juga untuk menuju masa depan dalam mungkin rancangan 5 tahun yang akan datang itu?
Wait, actually, I didn't get your question.
You know, we always look at the government to fund entrepreneurship in terms of grants, but what if the private sector take more lead in this? How do you look at this particular budget and that kind of role to incentivize for the private sector to take the lead here?
Private sector, they take the market.
Yeah.
Now, when Alibaba.com for listing, I think it was a week ago, it was huge, billions of dollars. We cannot look at that model. We have to suit the model based on our own capacity.
Okay.
Yeah. Jadi bila entrepreneur tu bila approach a venture capitalist, and unfortunately there are not that many, except government under MOF ada a few. Yeah. They have to really understand their strengths and weaknesses. I think it's more important to know your weaknesses, because I was an entrepreneur once. Yeah. And if I like to tie it to the Starbucks story just now, we cannot hope, or we cannot say macam mana nak jadi Starbucks. Okay. Because to go head on with Starbucks, you'll die. Because the amount of investment required to scale up to that level takes a long time and a lot of money. Jadi kita okay, my product, first kita tanya production ni banyak mana? How fast can he scale up his production? Where does he get his coffee beans from? So we have to go upstream. Yeah. And then he says, maybe I can produce, I don't know, 1,000 kilos per month. Okay. And then we say, okay, brand positioning is very important. That means dalam market tu, niche dia apa? Maybe dia boleh kata, I go for designer coffee. You know, I was in London a few months ago. Kat Harrods, coffee luwak. Ya Allah punya lama hai. Suami pun mesti tahu je. Dia ni expensive taste.
Pening I minum kopi luwak dekat. Why would you want to drink this? I saw the apa musang. Anyway,
but what I'm saying is the niche, you know, because at the moment the market he's going for is designer coffee. Okay. Jadi I'm not saying that he should, but I'm saying it's an idea where he has to go for a niche. And this I think applies to a lot of our entrepreneurs, because production kita kecil. Yeah. Even Malaysian designers ke restaurateur ke, kita understand niche kita. We cannot just look at the most obvious competitor, Starbucks, and we say, oh, I want to go for Starbucks. Or tak payah Starbucks, Old Town pun bukan senang. Jadi going back to your question, for you to get venture capital money, then you have to, bila you buat presentation tu, kalau you start cakap I want to beat Starbucks, macam mana nak dapat duit? Because the money guy will go, you're not realistic. So you have to understand where your niche is and how big is your production, your capabilities, your capacities.
Tujuan saya bertanya tu kerana ada pandangan mengatakan bahawa bagus ada bantuan kerajaan dan sebagainya, tapi mereka risau kesannya nanti usahawan itu tidak begitu tegar dan kuat kerana dia tak bermula dengan kancah yang begitu sengit persaingannya, contohnya lah. So itu soalannya.
Saya tak pernah apply duit venture capital atau minta duit kat Teraju. Maybe I should lah go one day. Jadi jadi I don't know whether the criteria bila you nak apply to is as high as the bar is as high as what is required of a private sector money. For example, for you to enter Harvard, Stanford, as you said, you kena buat essay, you kena interview, macam-macam you kena buat. You have to like dig some wells for some tribe in Africa, baru dia tengok resume itu, baru dia consider. Now, if the Malaysian public money guys, the venture capitalists, mezzanine capital, angel capital, whatever you call it, if they set the bar to get the money, because unfortunately maybe they're not. That's the question. Maybe they're not because duit tu government bagi, tak kira profit. So maybe, I don't know, maybe there's a mechanism where the government will say to venture capitalists Berhad under MOF, you have to show me your performance in the last 2 years before I give you more money. I'm sure they do, but Allahu Alam.
By the way,
Sherry, you want to add something to that? Yes.
I would like to add that I actually think that VC capital is very important. I think it is very applicable in Malaysia, Malaysian entrepreneurs as well. Yes, we don't, the US, you mentioned just now, is a 300 million, user market. And Malaysia, we have 30 million users, right, or 30 million residents. So it's a much smaller market. But if you look at Malaysia in the perspective of Southeast Asia, we have 600 million people. It's a huge market. Lebih besar daripada Amerika Syarikat, kan? So I think the key here is, and we talked about global just now and regional, the key here is to encourage our Malaysian entrepreneurs to go beyond jago kampung. We always say, right, they are happy being jago kampung, but how do you then say, hey, we speak Bahasa Malaysia, let's go to Indonesia, it's our neighbor, and Indonesia has 300 million people. How do you tap into the market, right? We talk about halal, the halal market. Nobody has really dominated the halal tech market. There's no e-commerce for halal products. And people, foreigners are coming to our country to start halal businesses. And I think that Malaysia is truly a blessing. You know, we have an English-speaking, majority English-speaking country. We speak Malay, we speak Chinese, we speak Indian, Tamil, so we can expand to a lot of the regions in Asia. And the cost of living here is relatively low compared to our neighbors in the south, right? Which is 3 times higher than the cost here. So Malaysia becomes a very good place to start a company where entrepreneurs want to expand to the whole Southeast Asia. I think that's the message, right? So for example, go back to the coffee for the entrepreneur just now from Kedah, right? So, okay, yes, you can think that you want to open a stall and compete with Starbucks, but you can also think about how technology is changing the world and the way people do business, right? So what can you do? You can list your coffee on a Facebook page. As Christopher Top mentioned just now, people are becoming more social. Malaysia is one of the most social countries in the world. Facebook published this data between 2011 and 2013. Malaysia is #1 in growth in using Facebook and lots of social media. So why don't these entrepreneurs take advantage of the very social Malaysians and create e-commerce businesses either from Facebook, or you can create a WordPress blog and list your product. When you do that, it costs very little. You don't have to set up a physical store. You don't need to take out a bank loan. You just need to sit in front of your computer, right? And then you can expand. You can export to Indonesia. You can export to Thailand, Vietnam, Singapore. 600 million people, right? And you capture the regional market. So one thing I would like to really thank the government is when the PM announced the budget was about this, what do you call, opening up doors, right? For yes, so the 1-year startup work pass. Right, where we are opening borders and we're inviting the best entrepreneurs in Southeast Asia to Malaysia through the Magic Accelerator program that we're going to host in 2015 in Q1. And what it is when we talked about entrepreneurs wanting to go abroad, exposure to go regional, it's very expensive, right? Not everybody has the money to go to Indonesia or Thailand. So what we want to do with this accelerator program, this ASEAN accelerator program, is that we bring the best entrepreneurs here. And when 75 startups are working on a company together, they make friends, they make connections, right? And they want to help each other out. It's similar to when you went to college or when you went to university or high school. You become good friends with your cohort, and you want to help each other out. So we're hoping that, you know, starting a company is the same way, but it's much tougher. The risk of failure is a lot higher. So we want to make the journey less lonely. So when you're in the room with 75 or to 100 different entrepreneurs from around the region, you're working toward a successful company, building a successful company, you make connections. So next time, in 2 years, when you do want to expand to Indonesia or Thailand, you've made friends. So we are trying to open up doors at Magic, invite these entrepreneurs to come to Magic. We will give you a little bit of seed funding, like around maybe 75K per company, and you build your business at Magic over 5 months, but you have a 1-year work pass to stay here and build your company. And another reason to do that is because, you know, I think we talk a little bit about how can we be faster, how can we make these entrepreneurs go faster, right? You put the pressure by opening up doors, inviting competition, the best in the region, in ASEAN, to come and compete with our own entrepreneurs. Then they will step up even further, right? I believe so. So this is the vision, and we're really glad that the government is supporting it.
Yeah, terus.
Yes. Okay.
I would just like to add on to what Cheryl has said. And I think I agree with her. We want to go global. We don't have to go to the US or UK.
Exactly.
If we all know that now the market is here in ASEAN countries and China. This is the new market now that people are going, even the US are going here. So I think I was in Paris last week.
Yeah.
We were there to represent Malaysian designers with Madrid. We were there to just use Paris as a platform. Paris as a platform, because we know Paris is the ultimate of fashion. So we were there to put up some shows. We had 8 designers from Malaysia. There are Kun Hui, Razwan Razwil, Bon Zainal. We had a few others. So what we actually intended to do is not that we can't fight Paris. They have Chanel, they have fashion city for a number of years, or for decades. So we can't fight these people, you know. It's their cup of tea. So what we're trying to do is that we want to use Paris as the platform to get, it is world fashion, Paris world fashion. So we had South American, we had South African, and then we had some Asian countries, even Philippines. And I'm glad to say that all our designers really put up a good show. We were one of the best. All of them, I think, I'm so glad to say that. So I think what we were trying to do is that all of them will come here. This month, end of this month, they will come here and they will put up a show here, and the Malaysia with their hub instead of there. So I think that's how it's going to be, you know, it's going to be this way around this time.